Hey guys, it's episode 3 of the Blockumentary. Well, I'm excited because every day we put another one of these episodes out. We are itching ever closer to nail up the nose time. Very excited. I think I might write a song about it. Matt's gonna put a nail up his nose, nail up his nose, nail up his nose. Matt's gonna put a nail up his nose and there will be blood everywhere. Matt's gonna put a nail up his nose, a nail up his nose, a nail up his nose. Matt's gonna put a nail up his nose and there will be blood everywhere. Matt's gonna put a nail up his nose, a nail up his nose, a nail up his nose. Matt's gonna put a nail up his nose.
Can you actually do some editing this time so that other people haven't got to endure that?
There will be blood everywhere.
It's just seen he did a trick to Jack the other day where he spent 5 minutes moving his arm up and down.
For what reason?
Just because.
Just for the shits and giggles?
Just for the shits and giggles. It was an entire 5 minutes.
Matt's gonna put a nail up his nose, a nail up his nose, a nail up his nose. Matt's gonna put a nail up his nose. Ah! That was you screaming, by the way.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
But it's not happening till next week. There is no nail going up the nose this week.
No.
I've got some exciting news for you.
Have you?
Yeah. Do you want to know what?
Not really.
I organised an interview with Marc Spelmann. So you can talk to Mark. I mean,
I get to talk to Mark.
How many people would buy Block by Marc Spelmann and then get a one-on-one masterclass on
I
nail?
get to talk to Mark Spelmann.
It's a good news, bad news situation. What would you like?
I get to talk to
The
Mark.
good news is you get to talk to Mark.
Okay.
That's the good news.
What's the bad news?
It started 5 minutes ago. You're late.
And he's just spent 2 minutes singing a song.
I know!
Yeah.
So you're telling me you've got Marc Spelmann on what? Where is he?
He's on that laptop over there. Look there. You can see him on the screen.
So we've got Marc Spelmann on a Zoom call now, and you're sitting here singing stupid fucking songs.
He's waiting for you.
Well,
Look, there he is. Look, you can see his little X mask as
Mark,
well.
so sorry. Are we? Where did we
Well,
do this?
I think you should come over here. I'll bring the laptop over here, and you can sit down and have a chat over here.
Well,
He can't hear you. I've got him on mute. All he sees is you walking around here, looking like a bellend.
what? We can't just keep Marc Spelmann waiting on. You know who that is, right?
Yes, I do, but hang on. I went to do the little video thing. Look, this week's
This
episode...
isn't a little video, this is you sitting here singing stupid fucking songs while we've got a national treasure waiting on a Zoom call.
You really do need to speak to him. So look, before he does, 2 things. One, this is important. This episode is going to be all about Matt speaking to Marc Spelmann and getting some advice on how to put a nail up his nose without incurring brain damage. We'll be back next week where he actually starts going through... That's bad.
He's done that hand action before, hasn't he?
Yeah, I was about to say, that's not...
That's muscle memory, that's what that is. It's just coming back to him.
That's going to be a
That's
nail
all
up the
Spelmann
nose.
can
Yeah,
see is
talks
him
about
doing
Marc
that.
Spelmann and then it's just...
He can see it on the camera over there.
Oh, fuck's sake!
Anyway, so we'll be back next week where Matt's actually going to do it. But there's one more thing. It's really important.
What?
Before you chat to Mark,
Yeah.
this is the single most important thing I need to
If
tell
you start fucking singing again, I swear to God.
Matt's
Yeah,
going to put
just
a nail
go.
up his nose,
Where
a
are we
nail up his
doing it?
nose, a nail up
Where
his
were
nose.
we doing this?
Hang on, I've got to finish. Matt's
No,
going to put
yeah.
a nail up his
Fuck's
nose, there will be
sake.
blood. We can do it here. So we'll
Well,
get the-
move then!
I'm going to go over there. You can get the laptop. You can have a chat to him.
Go then!
Oh, when you get on there, apologise for being late. See you later.
Thanks so much for doing this, by the way, dude.
You are more than welcome, Matt. Now, I understand you're on a bit of a journey at the moment. I've heard.
Yeah, I'm doing all kinds of stuff at the minute.
No, I mean with like hardware. I mean, I'm talking like you're attempting Blockhead, right?
Yes,
That's what I mean. The journey of like
this journey of sticking a nail through my face.
harming for other people's
Well,
entertainment.
hopefully- the whole idea of this is that it's not harming, isn't it?
Well, no, it's. I mean, listen, I've done it. I've done Blockhead for easily over 25 years, and I think maybe a handful of times I've had a little accident, It
What,
can
hold
happen.
on. Wait. What kind of accident?
Yeah, a little
Constitutes
nosebleed.
an accident.
No, only like a nosebleed. A nosebleed. I mean, like you got to remember, you are doing it for real.
Yeah.
It's not an illusion. But in 25 years, I mean, I don't do it as much as I used to, because of the environment that I'm working in now. It's a bit of a different thing, and obviously post Britain's Got Talent and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But before Britain's Got Talent, I'd say almost every gig I was doing, with the exception of some, because it doesn't fit every gig.
Yeah.
You're doing, David and Joanne's, Ruby wedding anniversary, and there's a lot of older people there, and they're all bow tied up. Sticking nails in your face probably isn't the best to do at that point. But a lot of the commercial gigs that I'll be doing, like media companies and banks and that kind of thing, yeah, I would literally do it. I must have performed Blockhead in my lifetime easily over 10,000 times.
Oh wow.
Like easily over 10,000 times.
I was super dubious about it. Like when Craig was like, we're gonna do something that Mark does, that Darren's done, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like it's gonna be like a wicked stage piece or something. And anyway, we're gonna do Blockhead. And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
and I
Yeah,
just
tell you what, though, it is one of those things, like, when people say, here's an impromptu, here's something that you can do spur of the cuff, impromptu, and all that kind of stuff. There's some amazing impromptu effects you can do. But I guarantee, I mean, I've been at a barbecue and someone said to me, someone was talking about something you did at their wedding or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly what it was. And I went, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't mind. Just, have you got a screwdriver? And they just pulled out screwdriver. And I just sort of got this screwdriver and I got like a hammer and started hammering this screwdriver. Same principle. I mean, it's exactly the same thing. But I can tell you now, I can guarantee you, if I did a bit of impromptu mind reading, maybe a coin, an impromptu coins across or something like that, the only thing they're remembering is he got this thing and just shoved it in his head, and it wasn't a trick, because it looks like it shouldn't. It doesn't make sense. You get this thing, you put it in your head, and they go, "Why is he not dead?" Doesn't make sense.
That's what I thought. Because I've seen you do it many times on TV and videos and YouTube and all the rest of it. I saw Darren do it on his tour when he was sitting at that table. And I remember the first time I watched it, I think the first time I ever saw anybody do it was you online. Okay. And then I just remember thinking, it's a fake nail.
Yeah, so many people do. I mean, they think, well, it's got to they got to contract or something, or they're bendy and they fold round or something. There's something going on. But, no, it is. They are absolutely genuine nails. Darren, actually, credit to Darren, actually, because he had I mean, obviously Darren's a superstar, right? So for him, hammering the nail in the block of wood and then signing that block of wood at the end, which he did on Something Wicked, and just genius. What a giveaway. That is, that there are, I don't know how many live performances he did of Something Wicked, but that there are people that go, yeah, that's the Darren Brown nail. It's on the mantle.
On their mantelpiece, and will be forever. Yeah. Technically speaking, they could clone Darren Brown. They've got his DNA.
They probably could. Actually, do you know what? That's a thought. Yeah. A couple of clones going on. Yeah, of course they could. His DNA.
More Darren's knocking around now.
Yeah, no, one's enough. He gets all the TV spots.
Exactly. But it looks phenomenal. But then I was like super dubious about it. I'm like, there's no way. I've done blades, like Alexander's blades and stuff, and a couple of different things that were considered like relatively dangerous. And then I saw that, and that's next level up, isn't it? That's the next thing, because there's no trick to it. You're literally spinning out to your face.
Yeah, there's ultimate fairness in it, and what I've always done. I think I do it on the on the download. There's a performance of me doing it at a corporate event. There's loads of bits of me doing it on TV and stuff, but there's a bit of me doing it at a corporate event. And
is that when you've got the lady up on stage with you?
That's right. And then at the end of it, I love collecting the nails in the glass for me.
Yeah.
I didn't want to use Darren's thing of hammering it in the block of wood and then signing that, because that's Darren's, even though he doesn't do it anymore. So I never really wanted to do that. On the Indonesian one, it was them that said we need to prove these are real. So I hammer them into a block of wood at the end.
Yeah.
And there's 3 nails in the block of wood at the end. But the idea of signing it and stuff like that is all like credit to. I mean, I'm sure there's other people that probably hammered nails into blocks of wood to show that they're real. But signing it
It's the
is
obvious thing to do, isn't it? Really, I think if
yeah,
you are using a hammer.
yeah. But I went there and signed it and just gave it as a souvenir, because that says everything. The minute you do that, it says everything. So for me, my sort of I love the I've always it was actually Marc Spelmann, an amazing mind reader friend of mine from New York, and he always said to me, some of the things we don't think about are the really small things. Like we think about the intricacies of a routine. Like if you're doing mind reading and stuff, oh right, I've got to get the peak there, and I've got to do that. I've got to do a miss call there when I'm bluffing this bit and whatever. But we might not think about the idea of, simply having a glass with all the pens in. So when you're walking up and down the line, giving everyone a marker pen to do their drawing, it's really elegant. It's just holding it there, grab a pen, grab a board, and it's just elegant. And it was that inspired. I thought, actually, I'll put the nails in a glass.
Mhm.
So that's why I've got the nails in a glass with the spoon. It's all self-contained. It looks like a nice little piece. But what's really nice about having the glass is you'll hear that I drop it into the glass. So for anyone thinking they're not real nails, well, it certainly sounds like a real nail when he drops them back in the glass. But the other thing that's really nice about the glass is they all get dropped back into that glass, and I never touch them again. And I say souvenir. And and that now,
Souvenir.
anyone says, they're fake nails, they're not real or whatever, that now just goes, oh.
Yeah, because there's no way you'd hand them out and give them away.
They obviously are. And then now their brains are going to. But, I mean, obviously, my performances on the download as well, it's fully focused on Blockhead. There's no additional stuff in there. But I've performed Blockhead where I've done a pulse stop. I've done Blockhead where I've had like black and white footage on a big screen behind me play. And I talk about, how the human mind and the human body. And I talk about a couple of things. There was the woman who was parking her car. The handbrake failed and it rolled onto her. I don't know if it was her son or daughter, but just the wheel went up and it was just on the child's hip. And the kid starts screaming. She runs out with, like, she's putting the shopping inside. She runs out, and without thought of I can't lift that car, she ran over and lifted the car. And the neighbors are all running over and just watched her, not like Hulk, but enough of a lift.
to get the kid out.
Yeah, you just like lifted a lot of weight for your, and it's that sort of thing of like, in those moments, where do our minds go? What are we capable of? If there's an amazing man called Ashley Kane who is an ex-footballer, and Ashley Kane is, his daughter passed away. I think she was 15 months old. She passed away, and as you can imagine, like, that's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And I really admire Ashley Kane, because now his whole journey in life, his whole purpose is about raising awareness, funds, charitable events. And what this guy does, you go, how are you doing that? But he's doing it with the passion for his daughter. And that's what I mean, is that mindset. So I had a piece in my show that was talking about how we far supersede what we think we can do. We kind of get to that first bit of resistance inside us and go, whew, yeah, I'm done. I can't do any more than that. You can. You really can. You could do another 5%. And then when you got there, you could do another 5%. You can do more than you think. And that's with our brains, with our physicality, with learning new skills. It's human nature. The first bit of opposition or pressure, you kind of go, that's it, I'm done. Do you know what I mean? It's the easiest way. But those that excel are the people that push beyond that barrier. So I used to have this whole bit in my show about, how we can go beyond those things. And I used to use Blockhead as an example. I say, look, what you're going to see now is not a trick. And it was very almost sort of pseudo-scientific. I'd sit down, I'd roll up my sleeve, I'd do a pulse stop, I'd do this whole breathing thing. And then I'd get them to do the whole tapping, the drama of, just tapping the table with a marker pen as my pulse slowed down. And then I would literally just go into this state, get the nails, and then start to hammer the nails in my face, but almost in a trance-like state, and then stop. And then I'd have an assistant come on with the camera, like we had a little GoPro. And then literally, actually, it was a camcorder back then. God, it was like a Casio camcorder. And they'd come in with this and come in really close and go all angles. And then each one of them was pulled out and stuff. And then I'd slowly put my hand down. Then the pulse would come back, and then I'd snap out of this pseudo state. And that is like theatre-wise, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, Darren did, with the stuff with the bag. I mean, obviously, you've got to be super careful, and we don't recommend anybody do that. But Darren did it with the bag and his pulse stopping and stuff like that. And then he went into this whole thing of walking on glass and lying down on it.
Very well. Yeah.
That, And again, I mean, incredible, like really, really amazing. But yeah. So I think you can certainly use Blockhead in a quick moment. And on the download, you'll see there's times when I would be doing close up at an event. And it sounds really weird. You do Blockhead close up, but I'd be doing close up at an event, and basically, I would just get on with the group, and I would be doing metal bending and a bit of mind reading, a bit of this, and the questions are coming in, and you could just see they're in it. They're there. They're totally invested. And I'd go, look, there is something that I can share with you that I promise you this. One, you will never forget, right? You will never forget this. Two, there's no illusion, there's no trick, there's no sleight, there's no psychology or anything. It is 100% real. But I can't show you here because there's other people around. And you'd get this table just going, where are we going? I'd go, right, let's go out to the lobby. And you get this thing of everyone else sitting there sort of going, wait a minute, what's going on? And it's like this moment. And my friend Christopher Taylor, who's a Canadian mentalist, he would do this kind of like getting a few people. So he had this great sort of PK, I think it was Ghost Touch, but it was this thing where you could sit in a chair. It was before that, all the advanced mechanics for some of the PK stuff. And it was the first kind of almost mechanical version of a PK Touch that there ever was Christopher Taylor's. And basically it was a little angle sensitive. So to do this really hands-off PK Touch thing, he would have to get a couple of people to go with him, and he'd go, let's go and do it over in this corner away from everyone else. Now he's doing that because it just works. Like,
better for the method.
But it's like doing a bill switch. If you're doing table hopping and you're doing a bill switch, well, you've got to be aware that a lot of the people behind might be seeing stuff. But if you go like, listen, I'll show you this thing, right? Genuinely, I do this at home on my own. Right? It's not even a trick. Come here, like that. And then people follow you. It's like, what are we doing? Like that. I've
done it myself with at like weddings and stuff. I've done it with Hook when I first doing Hook. And I've got a group of people to come outside, come out the way, because if this goes wrong, I don't want it to go wrong in front of the kids and stuff that are in there. Let's go outside. Let's try it.
Exactly that. But what you're doing in that moment is you're creating intrigue as well.
So a little moment theatre for them.
Yeah, for me with the Blockhead, it's like I don't want to offend anybody. Like if Sarah and Michael are tucking into their, cream chicken and broccoli, right?
Yeah.
I don't want them to be going, well, that's just disgusting. I can't.
Yeah.
They're offended, right?
Yeah.
So you have to consider these things, right? But if you've got that little core group of people, and you kind of think this would be great, I can share it with you. And I say this on the download as well, that there are times when I will turn around and I'll say, listen, if at any point of me doing this, you think I cannot watch this, I would never force you to turn away or walk away, whatever you want. But now everyone's just going, what are you going to do? I mean, I just, even if I wanted to look away now, I just want to go, I need to see this, Yeah. So for me, Blockhead was really powerful.
Well, I watched the download twice, actually.
Okay.
Because I watched it first off. I was doing a gig that was miles and miles and miles away. It was like a 3.5 hour drive. So I always set off really, really early to get there, just in case of traffic and stuff. I actually got to this gig about an hour and a half earlier than I was supposed to be there. So I sat in my car and watched it.
Okay.
And first thing that I wanted to do was go to B&Q and get some nails, because after watching it, I was like, it went from there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. I don't know if you saw the first video we did, but I'm like,
No, I haven't. Is
genuinely-
it online now?
first
Is it?
video of I haven't actually done the thing, but it was just when Craig was telling me what I was going to do.
Okay.
That's already up.
So that's live now, yeah. So I
Yeah,
can.
yeah,
Oh, brilliant. I'll check it out.
yeah. And I was basically just like, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to lobotomize myself. I'm going to die. This is going to be horrific. And then that was what the thought that was in my brain. And I told a couple of my mates when I've been out what I'm planning on doing, and they're like, "You're mental. Like, why are you doing this?" And I'm just like, I've got to do it. I'm doing it for the channel. Like, it's, you know, I want to push myself, but I'm probably am gonna hurt myself doing it. And then I watched the tutorial, and after I watched the tutorial, that gave me so much more confidence.
Okay. Well, that I mean, the real reason is, I mean, look, you know, sometimes when we release a product in this industry, we release a product because we go, oh, the revenue, we're going to sell loads and loads of these and all that. And what it was, I said to Craig that me putting Blockhead together is not a financial thing at all, because very few people will buy it. It's not an immediate, oh, you know, I'll put that straight into my kids show. So it's
definitely not.
You know, but oddly, you could. I mean, those kids will go, no, we need the one that was here last year who did the thing with the nail.
Yeah.
Not this guy with the bendy wand. But, oh dear, innuendo's gone really bad. Anyway, so but basically, I just went to a dark place. But it's so I actually ended up putting Blockhead together because when I'd done it I did it on the Brit Awards in 2008. So that's a very young. Oh no, you don't see Adele on that. I didn't do Blockhead on Adele. No, I did something else. So I've got a footage of me and Adele, but I didn't do Blockhead with Adele. I've got a very young Adele, 2008, with me doing some Bernie card trick thing. But no, that Blockhead that I did on Lee Francis, Alan Carr was there. That was 2008. So that's a long time ago. And that corporate event, I was saying to Craig, I think that was like late 90s, very early 2000s. It was actually Emirates Football Stadium, a big, massive corporate event. It was about 500 or 600 people in the audience. And I remember I did loads of other mind reading after that. But I remember when I got there, and this is what I mean, right? This is about gauging when to do it, when not to do it. And I was at that event because I knew I was doing cabaret. I was doing a 20-minute spot, and it was like 500, 600 people at Emirates Football Stadium. And when I turned up, the booker was there, and she said, "Yeah, they're really rowdy." And I was like, "Oh, like, really?" And she said, "Yeah." She goes, "We've had speeches throughout the day. People are talking. It's a challenge." And I was like, and in my head, you know what that's like. You're going, "Oh God, this is going to be hard work." Like, you know,
last weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be like, "Oh God, I'm going to be fighting all the way through this." And then I thought to myself, right, Blockhead. But I didn't. I had it in my head, and then I looked at them. I went around the room, and I spoke to the guy on camera, and I said, "Can you record it when I'm on stage?" Because they had a live feed. But I said, "Can you record it?" And he goes, "Yeah, of course. I'd stick it on a tape." And it was a tape back then. You can have the little tape, and that was great. And I remember just watching the audience, and they had a couple of other announcements. I thought, God, these lot are proper rowdy. So I need to get these people on point straight away, and that's why. And I made that call there and then. If it wasn't the right, if I'd have walked in that environment, and they were very, very sort of conservative, and you know, like very, you know, then I might not have even done Blockhead that day. But you can see the reaction it got. Everyone's going, "Oh my God," and they're like freaking out, and there's laughter and everything else. And then from that point onwards, I had them. You know what I mean? Now they're going, this guy's nuts. We've got to watch this guy. So no conversation happened. It was just, and then I did. I mean, God, I did sort of sneak.
So you literally opened that show with that. You walked on stage and just did that.
Walked out, and I just said, "I need someone." I've been told. I can't remember. Was it Diane? Table 3 or whatever it was, and I just went, "Table 3, Diane." And then this poor woman comes up on stage.
Yeah, I remember you looking over to stage right and pointing it, and then you brought some lady up.
Yeah.
Very shy. Really.
Yes. But that's another thing as well. I mean, like, and you know what? I'm sure I did cover that, but it's the people that you get up on the stage with you as well. If you're going to do Blockhead and you're going to get someone up on the stage, I very often opt for a woman over a man. Not all the time, because you saw I was doing it with Alan Carr, where he's pulling it out, and Lee France stuff. But very often I'll opt for a woman, because a woman is never going to, like, less likely to be paralytic, less likely to, they're just going to be motherly. Their maternal instincts are going to kick in and go, let's just get this out your face. Like, come on,
Yeah.
stop it, grow up, you know. You know, which Jerry Halliwell, I did it on Jerry Halliwell, but it was never videoed. But I did it on Jerry Halliwell, and she turned around and she said to me, she goes, if I was your mum, I'd be so worried. And I was like, I love you. That's so sweet. It's all right, I've got this. I've done this a few times, you know what I mean? But yeah, so there are things to consider. But honestly, and one last story. I don't know if did I mention this on the video? Did I mention the Clink Prison Museum on there? I don't know if I
I don't
did.
remember a
Right,
prison.
okay. I did the Clink Prison Museum. So it was like the poor man's London Dungeon on the other side of the Thames, right? And London Dungeon's the big one, but you had the Clink Prison Museum, which was a real prison. And a lot of the time it was used for ladies of the night, if you know what I
Okay.
mean. And
Yeah.
they'd spend the night in the cells because they were drunk and raucous and stuff like that. But it wasn't a heavy prison. It was like a let's get you off the streets for the night kind of thing. Anyway, but they had corporate events there. And I remember I got a call from them, and I used to know the management really well. They said, Mark, we've got a plumber's merchants are holding an event. They've got this new product that's coming out, a revolution in the plumbing world. Okay, good.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
all good. And I rocked up, and when I tell you, I was like, oh my God, it's like, imagine about 150 builders.
Wow. Yeah.
You know the audience I'm talking about now,
Yeah,
right?
totally. Very, very well.
Hi, John. Right? It's very much like that. And I was like, oh God, like me now, a little sort of young Spellman's going to go out there and go, right, I'm a mind reader. Going to read it up and all that. And they're going to go, mate, jog on. Right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And when
yeah.
I came out, I said, good evening. Like they introduced me as a mind reader. And then I remember just walking out onto the stage and just like there's people chatting, there's people still at the bar, and in my head I'm going, ooh, this is gonna be a long half an hour. And I've done a couple of bits. I got someone up on stage, did flashback, a book test thing and whatever. And I just felt I didn't have them at all. Their attention was not there or anything. And I thought, right, and I was saying to Craig earlier, I always had Blockhead always on me. It would be either at the back, because in my theatre show, even now, there's a little black box at the back of my stage that I might not ever go to it, but in there, I've got backup material if something doesn't go right, if something's not been charged or my batteries have run out. For something, right? I've got like dead set stuff, whether it's a tossed out deck, but in there as well is because I can get like 5-7 minutes out of a tossed out deck. I don't really do tossed out decks that much, if anything, because it's done so much. But in an emergency, surefire, right up the back. Let me not do this. I'll do something with all of you. Let me try this, but I'd always have Blockhead up the back. So anyway, I don't feel that I've got this crowd, and I'm thinking, God, I can either just carry on, which isn't really doing much. They're kind of half invested, half not, or I could just do Blockhead. And I just turned around and I said, and there was one bit where I looked at some woman and I just said, you know what, I'm not getting it. Honestly, I am completely blocked. There's some sort of a block. I need to clear it. Can you come up? Right?
Love that.
So she came up on stage and I went, do you mind helping me out with this? I just need to clear it. Sorry, it's a bit of a weird thing, right? And then I went, it's a bit, anyway, got this glass, nails in it, took the nails out. The minute I started hitting that first nail, and you could just hear ching, 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 everyone's like, yeah, you're.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute, John, hang on.
Yeah.
On that, and then now I'm getting other people to examine the nails. Now they're all like plumbers and people that are in the trade. They're all going, yeah, let me have it. No, mate, that's a nail. Then I carried on, and what was lovely was I rescued it. Like 10 minutes in, it was just not going to be a good gig. It was going to be one of those kind of like just kind of leave kind of gigs, and then just doing Blockhead in the middle, completely off the cuff, because it was for me it was like I don't care if I offend them now because they're offending me, frankly.
Yeah.
So it did Blockhead, but then that was it. You could have heard a pin drop, and now everyone's going on a minute. He's a bit mad, this guy.
Yeah.
And carried on doing bog standard mind reading afterwards, which is no bad thing. But now all it took was that attention grab.
Shock factor to
Yeah.
get them. Yeah.
Just to make them go, actually, he's worth watching. Actually, it's quite funny. Actually, oh, you know what? I'm going to sit down and watch the rest of it.
Yeah.
Then the next 20 minutes of the 30-minute show, fine. Everyone clapped, everyone lovely. I think I got a standing ovation from most of the room at the end, not all the room, but got a really good. Yeah, it was. So that Blockhead for me has always been that thing, and the bit that I did on Indonesian television, I wouldn't have gone if it wasn't for Blockhead, because they got in contact with me and they said we really want a UK or a Western mind read. I don't know why they got me. I mean, there's so many other people they could have got, but they said we want a European mind reader who's going to go up. There's a guy called Deddy Corbuzier who created a thing called Free Will, but he's a superstar in Indonesia. Like he's like the Max Maven of Indonesia. He's massive. Like the Darren Brown of Indonesia, right? And they said, well, it's this kind of battle between Indonesia and the rest of the world. Would you come over? And I went, mind reading. I don't speak Indonesian, like not even at all. And I can't go on, and it was live. I can't go on live TV and half hash out some Indonesian words that I can't even remember what they are.
Yeah.
And the pressures of being on live TV. So I just went, I'm going to have to sort of like, and they said, is there anything you could do that's visual? And I just sent them that clip of me doing that corporate event. And they went, can you do that? And I was like, oh. And then that was it. And then I was flown business class to Indonesia and at the time I hadn't done BGT or anything. This is like 2010. I was just like, I was known in the magic world. Oh, yeah, Marc Spelmann, his DVDs and all that. But outside of that, no one knew who I was. But they paid an amazing fee, and I was flown and looked after. I mean, I had my own chaperone in Jakarta in Indonesia looking after me. And it's
what an experience that is.
And I could have turned it down. I mean, I was kind of turning it down. I was kind of, because listen, the money's great, but I just can't have a car crash. Live TV. It was like, I think it was 20 million viewers live. Eventually it'd go out to 100 million viewers in the Philippines and everything else. And you're kind of going, that's astronomical numbers. And my mindset is, if you do something bad, as much as we like to think we can forget it, it does live on YouTube forever.
So things that go wrong are always going to get more views.
Yeah, in the old days, no. That corporate event, you could never work for that company again. No one will ever know.
Yeah.
But now, we live in an environment where people got mobile phones and stuff. You go, please don't record this car crash. So yeah, I mean, listen, look, if there's anything you need, I mean, like, as you know, you've got to go through that process of working out anatomically, are you able to do Blockhead?
I did it with the pen.
Okay.
With the insert. So I've had a bit of a go at that. I got it in probably this much already, and then just freaked out.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I mean, the thing to do is to sort of like, listen, it's like anything. It's like learning to walk. If you've never done it, it's weird, right?
Yeah.
So you do need to just get it in there and really gently, I mean, treat it like you were doing it to someone else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going into territories that have not been explored before. Yeah. So take it easy, go in as far as you can, have a little jiggle around, and you will know. I go, right, and the thing is, because I've done it so much, even if the nail did kind of hit, which it never, I got the right length nail, so I could really hammer it in.
That's a really good tip. I watched that, I watched the whole tutorial start to finish twice, but then I watched that little bit an extra couple of times. I kept going back and going, right, okay, just to make sure that I've got it in my head. What do I need to do?
Yeah, totally. Because I mean, even with Darren, when Darren did it on his show, it wasn't something wicked. He did it on another show. I can't remember which one it was, but anyway,
I don't remember which show it was, but I remember sitting there watching him think,
something wicked. Yeah, but yeah, I'm misremembering that. It wasn't something wicked. It was another show that he did it in. But even with Darren, I mean, Darren had a good old big nail. But when you look at Darren, when he's finished, it's still sort of out of the nostril a little bit. So when Darren's hammering that in, he's got to kind of know when to stop. I always wanted to take the guesswork out of that and just have a nail that was perfect for my size. So I know at the end I can actually boom, boom, and it's never going to pierce the back or anything like that. And even if it, and I know this sounds weird, even if it did pierce the back, your brain is up here, right? It's not going anywhere near your brain. It's actually going towards the back of your throat. It's really weird. All that back area, it's kind of like where everything joins at the back.
Yeah.
So I could actually hammer it in, and if I did it with a screwdriver, I actually could have it hit that back wall and just not be that phased by. I just know it's my point. I go, right, that's as far as it's going to go. And you'll feel that when you're messing around with the pen. But that's what that is. That is your investigation. And, you know, get the pen, slide it in, keep on going. And when you are absolutely dead set that it can't go back anymore, and it will feel like a real obvious, there's a wall there, that's not going any further. And it'll almost feel like it's at the upper back of your throat. Oh God, I didn't say this. Oh, this is so good that we're doing this. Because these are extra tips. I feel like it's at the back of your throat, almost when you get that weird cough at the back of your throat. And sometimes when you do it, you can actually feel almost like you need to get a little bit of a cough going because it is connected to that whole.
Is it dangerous to cough while it's in your face?
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, no, nothing will happen. You know,
Because when you were talking perfectly normally,
oh yeah, no, 100%.
As if nothing's happening.
Yeah, no. You'll be absolutely fine. You can talk all the way through it. And that's what I do as well. I mean, like I used to hammer the nails in the face and do a few of them. And I used to have one line where I'd have 3 nails in. No, I'd have 1 nail in that side. Because the way I used to do 1 nail in one side, 1 nail in the other side. And then I'd go with another nail in this side. And I used to do most of the time 2 in one and 1 in the other. But there were times where I put 3 and 4 was only like I did that. Yeah. I could get 4 in that side, but it was really like it was a stretch. I could really feel that was stretch because all those nails are trying to go to the same point. So it's kind of like, you know, wedging it all in. But so the most I ever performed with was 3. And I used to have this line like talking, you know, you mentioning about being able to talk with them in your head. I used to do this thing where I haven't got a spoon here, but because I used to use a spoon all the time to do it, I used to then just stop. And I don't know if I did it on that corporate where I just look in the spoon and kind of go.
Yes, I think you do on one of them. Yeah.
And it's just a funny moment where you go, this guy's actually like checking his hair out. Everything look good? Is that right?
Or he's got a nail in his face.
And then there was another thing that I said, and this was the footage. I did it at the International Magic Convention many years ago, and Darren was in the audience. This was when Darren had his very first special. And I remember doing it, and you always had this line where I would sort of go, you know, I could do 4, but let's be honest, that would be offensive. No, that would be in bad taste. Which is kind of like the 3's fine, you know, that's fine, but I could do 4, but that would be in
4 would be pushing it too far.
Yeah, that would be gross. Let's be honest, guys. You know, it's almost like that thing of like, you know, but it would always get a laugh because it's like, yeah, this is fine. Any more than that, gross. You know? So yeah, but other than that, and when
what are the benefits of? Do you think that you get more of a benefit by doing more nails than just doing 1?
No, I think that ultimately, I think you do if you do 1 nail, and that's all you do, as Darren proved. You know, Darren did it with 1 nail in a theatrical environment, did it beautifully, and absolutely. I mean, that can be enough. Reason why I went with more nails is because I could. And it just made it a longer piece, you know. It made it a longer.
I was thinking you build it up as a piece, and you make it a longer stage piece. If you do.
But also as well in the presentation, a lot of the time I'd hammer that first nail in, and then I'd sort of go, but obviously these nails can't be real, can they? Take one out and just examine it. In actual fact, who doesn't think they're real? And I'd look down into the audience, and I go, actually hand it to. What's your name, sir? Right, have a look at it. Really check it out. Does that feel like a real nail? Well, let's do it with that one then. And then now I'd have the second one, and then the third one. Then, you know.
After you'd handed it out to people.
Right, now that's what I say on the download. Now, I would be, because of post-COVID.
Back in the day, you weren't really that bothered about it.
Back in the day, I mean, I was a 30 a day smoker. So I'd have, like coffee and whiskey and fags.
Mhm.
So a dirty nail, whatever. It's just like,
Yeah.
not me at all. Now, to be honest with you, I would be a lot more, but I think there's something nice in that.
Yeah.
And I think, because the very last time I did it, no, sorry, the time that I did it, where I talk about on the download, where I had the nosebleed, that
Mhm.
lady, I got hurt at the glass, the nails, and then I got her to put rubber gloves on. So she's putting these latex gloves on, like surgeon's gloves,
Yeah.
and it was very
Visual.
surgical like. And there's
Yeah.
something great about that.
Yeah,
'Cause
I think
it now becomes like, can you just take that and you can examine it? Can you just do that swab for me? Can you take that? Just give that a little clean. That's wonderful. And it's like a medical procedure, and that's theatre. Do you know what I
even
mean?
if you did that in that close-up scenario where you're taking people away,
Oh,
to
yeah,
then about some rubber gloves and an alcohol wipe, and you know what I
takes
mean?
up no space as well. I mean, like, a couple of latex gloves in a pocket. And even if you don't have the latex gloves, just have the alcohol swab. Look, do me a favor,
Yeah.
very carefully. Can you just give that a clean? Everyone's going, where are you? What are you going to do with it? What are you? Why are you doing this? What are you doing?
Yeah. And it
And
is that exact voice in that tone that you get from people when they just don't know what's coming.
100%, 100%. So for me, it served me well. And again, I reiterate this. This is not about selling loads of these. It really isn't.
Yeah.
What it is it's for the few that want to know how to do it as safely as possible. And I talk about this on the download. Someone said to me, I was doing the bean out the eye. I did this thing where I'd sort of sniff one up and come out my mouth. I'd do another one in my ear and it'd come out my nostril, and then I'd get the next one and pop it out my eye. And I learnt that from Tom Mullica's impromptu magic. It was the Indian bean mystery, but he never did it out the eye. The out the eye for me was Penn and Teller, watching Teller do a little popcorn kernel, and I was like, I love that. But again, wanted to add these other bits in to make it a bit more routine. And I used to do that all the time. All the
Mate
time.
of mine, Danny Ragg, does it with a balloon, and he puts it up through his nose.
Oh
and
yeah, you do, yeah, and that's great.
Yeah.
Especially if you, yeah. But then what's really funny about that is if you say, "Look, please note this is the clean end of the balloon," and then now you put it in your nose and you pull it through, and you say to someone else, "Blow the balloon up," and they're going,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is sick," and it's blowing up. Mate, that's a picture. That is a photograph. But it was my friend David who turned around to me and just said to me, "Because have you ever done blockhead? Ever considered it?" Because I was doing the beam from the eye, and I went, "What's?" I had no clue. What's blockhead? And he went, "Oh, you get the nail, do it in the head." And I remember Swami and Mantra, this book, which I've got somewhere, and that literally, I've got it from America. Tannen's magic. This is long before like the world of online magic shops, and got this book. And the human blocker, lovely, flicking through, and it's literally 2 paragraphs saying, take a nail and just very carefully insert it into your nasal cavity.
Done.
So, okay, anything else? And so there's been a couple of other people that have taught it, but what it was is I was saying to Peter, I've just found I was looking for footage for other stuff, and I've got this library. I've got one hard drive that's full of stuff that I've done, like whether it's been TV or corporate events where they've recorded it or whatever. And it's like my sort of like my kind of vault, if you like. And I was going through going, gee, there's so much of me doing blockhead. And I've had in the past, I used to get so many emails about it. People that have seen me do it on Indonesian television, messaging on YouTube. What is it? Is it something I could try? And I would always go, don't do it. But and I know that if someone's really into that, if they kind of go, no, I love the shock factor, I like the needle through the arm and this sort of stuff, the sort of fakir shamanistic stuff, like Blaine. I mean, because I think Blaine, I mean, I love Blaine. I think Blaine's an absolute genius, but obviously Blaine is really pushing the regurgitation with the frogs, the water, the petrol and everything. I mean, he's really pushing it. And I think what that does is, as always with Blaine, is he inspires people. So whenever he does a special and it's a bit odd and weird, I get emails from people going, that blockhead thing, that thing with the nail, how'd you do it? And I just said to Peter, listen, rather than this footage laying dormant, in my you know, on my hard drive. Let me just put it together and just chat with Colin, because I taught Colin how to do it, who's on the download, my
Yeah,
mate.
yeah, he is, yeah.
And actually physically show people how to practice. If you want to do it, this is how you do it safely.
Oh, wait, hold on. You obviously didn't have your download to learn how to do this. So did you genuinely just read 2 lines in a book saying get a nail hammered up my nose and you just went okay and did it?
No. So what I did was I went away and read that description, and I thought, right, okay, well, we're not gonna just grab a metal nail and shove it in my head. What can I find? And I actually, what the very first thing that I did was I got a an earbud, but I took all of the cotton off of one end and put a little bit of soap on it or whatever it was, you know, just to lube it up a little bit, and then went like that. But then the problem with an earbud, it's only that long, and I kind of went like that and went, oh, right, okay, that's right in. So then I had to kind of fish it out, and then thought, well, what's like that but a bit longer? And I went, oh, inside of a big pen, you know, and then just got that, and then thought that's nice and smooth, and you get a gauge on it, and it is literally once you've done it a few times, you know that's as far as it's going to go. That's your measure. And you literally take that, get a ruler, and you go, right, I need to go to B&Q, but get the ones that have not got the oil on, the sort of
Yeah,
grit.
yeah.
Get
That
the
was
nice
really
chromy
impressive,
ones.
but you don't want to leave all the residue inside your face, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah, because it's
White
foreign.
ones, not the dark ones. I don't want to give everything away that you said on
No,
the download.
totally no. But I mean, listen, you know, it's like I said, it's not about me. I wanted to create a resource because it's so hard to do in text. Even if you did this as a PDF, which you could do, I just wanted to sit there and go, no, look, this is what it is, right? Watch, this is how I'm going to do this, and talk through it. You'll feel this sensation. It'll feel like this. That's going to feel weird. You might cough. You might sneeze. All of those things, just to make it like the tutorial on Blockhead. If
And it
you're
really is. You haven't left anything out. And you have stated from the very start, don't do this.
yeah,
Don't do it.
yeah.
But if you're going to do it, this is how we
This is how you
recommend.
do it. Exactly. It's like
And it's
anything
brilliant.
else. I mean, yeah.
You go
So
into so much detail about everything all the way through it. And I've had since our first video went out a couple of weeks ago, I've had so many people messaging me saying, how are you getting on? What are you doing with it? I really want to do it. I've already bought the download. And like, it's actually.
you know what? I'll tell you what was really lovely. I actually got a message from Andy Nyman. And Andy said to me, he goes, I've just finished watching your Blockhead tutorial. And in my mind, I'm going, why have you just bought a Blockhead?
Yeah.
Darren
You
did
know how it's done.
Darren did this in his theatre show.
Yeah.
I'm sure you wrote with him. But he just said, he goes, I just like to, he goes, I just love looking at, like, you know, obviously you've been doing it for years and stuff. And he just came back. He goes, there's no stone left unturned. I mean, he goes, you've covered every element of it.
Absolutely correct. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was amazed at how detailed it was. I mean, it could have literally just been, here you go, look at this. Bang.
Yeah.
You just do that. But you've got like the skull and stuff, and you go into the why. What I found was really interesting is why. The why section. Why would you do this? When and where, to who, and all that kind of stuff, and picking your audience, and like you've already touched on today. And it's just, you don't think about those kind of things. If you get something in your head that you really want to do something, and then you go out and you learn it, you just want to show it and do it at every gig. You want to go out there and show everybody. But with this kind of thing, you can't. And the fact that you go into detail about when to do this and who to do it to, that as a performer, as someone like who's going to be doing this professionally to paying audiences, which I'm going to be doing, that's a really interesting, really helpful thing. So the fact that you've gone into so much detail over something that's really old now, you know, but you've gone into this much detail to bring it into the modern world, even given the pros and cons for hammer and spoon. I thought, genius, just absolute. You don't think about things like this unless you've been doing it for 20 years. So for you to give everybody everything you need to go to, like you've got a ready-made 7-8 minute stage piece.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, and you know what? It's one of those things as well. What I love about, I've always loved about Blockhead is that I could have a close-up case, and I do a lot of metal bending anyway, so I'll have spoons on me and stuff like that. And to throw a couple of medical swabs in there, and, you know, sort of 6 or 7 nails, Now I've got that alone will be a piece that I go, we had a magician 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He did this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's stories. That's the stuff, you know. It's like they remember you. Like Mark Owen from Take That calls me the Nail Man.
Brilliant.
Genuinely, there was a nightclub called China White's in London many years ago. My friend, I wasn't even doing a gig. My friend used to be the head of security there. And I'd done a gig somewhere else in London, and he said, "Pop along, have a drink, come and sit, like, come and chat with me. I'm bored as anything in the VIP section at this club." Turned up, and then you had Mark Owen and Jason Orange, both of them in Take That at the time. Jason's no longer there, but so you just had them two together, and I went, "Oh God, that's the boys from Take That, isn't it?" And he went, "Yeah," and then my mate George just turned around to Jason and Mark and just went, "You want to check him out?" He was so good. He was like my publicist. And he just told me, "You want to check him out? The magician, absolutely amazing." And they'd go, "Oh, yeah, all right then." I've done a couple of card tricks now. I said, "You want to see something that like just like you will never forget?" And then did Blockhead. And I've seen Mark at the Brit Awards in 2008, which has got to be like about like nine years later. And he just went, "The Nail Man. How are
No
you?"
way. That's
Just
incredible.
I went, "I'm good, man. I'm good." He goes, "You doing that today?" I went, "Yeah, they're filming it as well."
He's a really nice bloke, actually.
Yeah,
Like,
really lovely, really
yeah,
lovely. Yeah, proper down to earth, you know.
really nice. I was surprised at how nice of a bloke he actually
I
is.
sometimes think
considering
people that have been in the industry that long,
yeah.
I think they're, you know, I just think they're so used to it. They've played the game long enough.
I
Um,
bumped into him backstage once, and he was like this massive table, and he had hundreds of posters all over this table, and he was there with a Sharpie, signing hundreds and I'm like, I walked up and I was like, "You really do that yourself?" And he went, "Yeah."
yeah,
I was the only one out of the four of them that when I was with them, there was only the four of them.
right,
But at the time, he was the only one there signing them, but he signed every single one of them himself.
yeah,
Really nice bloke.
yeah, no, lovely. That's good to hear. So listen, if you need anything from me on this journey, even a catch up, anything, any hiccups that you have or whatever, just give me a shout and we'll jump on a Zoom.
Well, when I've got it, when I'm doing the nails, I'll give you another call, and then you can have a
Absolutely.
look and see what you think. I want to work out like a really like cool presentation. I don't just want to copy what you've done. As amazing as it is, I want to try and do something that's kind of, I don't know, maybe something that's just something that I do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that's going to be yet, but I want to work out something presentation wise that's maybe a little bit more, a little bit original.
Yeah.
I don't want to just, I mean, what you do is incredible, but I don't want to just copy. I don't like
Yeah,
copying
yeah.
people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, once I've got it and I've got,
I just had an idea for you, but
oh, go for it, go for it.
no, I'll tell you later. I want to. No, I've got this in reserves as a completely unique presentation for
Okay.
Blockhead. Yeah, we'll talk about it off camera.
Okay.
I'll
All right.
let you go away and see what you come up with.
Yeah.
I've got an idea. I've never done it this way. I literally am just in my brain there, just going, how would I do it now if I was trying to do it differently than I've done it before? And I just had an idea. But I think it's. Should I tell you what it is? Or should I just tell you what it is?
Yes.
Right, okay, right. All right, okay. I'll just tell you what it is, right? Basically, I think what you could do.
Actually, I don't know. I don't know whether
No,
you should.
don't then, don't.
Because
Let's
this
not.
is going to go out, and then anyone that's learning it's going to go and do that.
No,
And
no,
I
no,
don't
no.
want that to happen. So
Let's
we'll
do
do it. We'll talk about it off camera, and then I'll do it when I perform it live,
Yes.
and then everybody else can copy me after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sound like a plan.
Sounds like a plan.
Dude, thank you
No
so
worries, man.
so much for your time. Like,
Oh, mate, absolute
amazing
pleasure.
chat.
I will speak to you soon, and good luck with it all. And yeah, and give my love to Craig, and I will speak to you very soon.
Thank you so much, man. I really
Lots of
appreciate
love,
it.
man. Good to meet you,
Pleasure.
mate, as well.
Take it easy, dude.
Bless.